So I was reading some of my comments, and somebody mentioned a YouTuber that they liked my loss prevention video that I made a long time ago. That I used to when I used to work at Walmart, and I think I might have made two. I'm not quite sure exactly which story I told. The one about the pretty sure I told the one about the drunken Indian guy who stole the bike and then grabbed the booze, and that one was that's my favorite, my personal favorite. And I might have told the reason why I got fired because I didn't. I let somebody go, 14-year-old girl. So either way, I'll go back and look. I should have looked, but trying to think. Yeah, I worked loss prevention, for those of you who probably never seen it, back in like, I don't know, late 2000s, mid to late 2000s, like 2007, 2008, I think. Phoenix, Arizona. Okay. Wasn't that I was like gung-ho and wanted to be loss prevention, I mean, I had worked security, like doorman type stuff. But, it wasn't like my passion in life, I wasn't trying to get a job in law enforcement. I wasn't trying to get a job in loss prevention. I just happened to need a job, and I applied at Walmart. And I don't remember why I applied there. I think I had a friend who worked there. And I needed a job, and I needed a job fast, and that was the only thing that they offered me, because they saw my, my resume that, I was working the door here and there and this and that. Anyway, and I'd done security before, but not loss prevention, just standard security for concerts and events and stuff like that. Worked for a security company in Phoenix, Arizona for a while. So my resume at the time had a lot of security shit on it. So anyway, it paid more than like your standard, Walmart guy, whatever they're doing. It was one of the higher paid positions as far as a employee. So whatever, right? I took it. I needed a job. I was like, it can't be that bad, right? Well, I didn't last very long, but that's kind of for a different video. But some of the horror stories I had, I really, I'm not that big of a guy. I'm, fucking I'm 5'9" ish, right around there, 5'9", 5'10". Now I weigh about 175. Back then I was even thinner. I was thin though. I was like thinner than I am now. I probably weighed about 155. So I was like definitely probably the smallest, if not one of the smallest guys, that I worked with. I ended up working at two different stores because it was kind of unsafe to work at the same store all the time. And here's some advice to anybody who's watching this, that happens to be LP or, AP, whatever, APA, whatever it is. You might not want to do what I did. And I like picked the Walmart that was like closest to my house, like in walking distance. And that is not good. And that's what I'm going to tell you because like, it sounds, oh, great, I can just walk to work. Yeah, you can. And then you start busting people who live in that area too, because they're also walking to Walmart. Now it's like, got to the point where, I was running into people that I had busted or that knew me as LP. Like somebody else busted them, but I was in the back room and wrote something down or whatever, right? Or somehow they just knew it. Oh, fuck, people. Motherfuckers interrupting my video. No respect. Anyway, yeah, that was kind of stupid on my part. I didn't think about it though, right? Nobody mentioned it to me. So yeah, there's one time I was, I worked at two different stores, but the one closest to my house. About a time, like a couple months went by, and I'm pretty good with faces, and I knew something was weird at the mall. I went to a mall, right? Same area, right? Maybe a couple miles away. And these two dudes kept following me, like eyeballing me and kind of like from across the way, and were kind of like trying to like make it look like they weren't. I was by myself buying some shit or whatever. I don't remember what I was buying, but just like, fuck. I kind of got a better look at them, just like, fuck. Because these guys were definitely following me. And it's just like, it's like, that was like kind of scary because it's like, every time you bust, not every time, but a lot of times when you bust somebody, you can, depending, each situation is different. When you're talking to them in the back room and they're waiting for the cops, back then Walmart called the cops on everybody. Back then Walmart busted everybody. It doesn't matter if you stole fucking candy bar. It's now I don't know what the policies are, so don't take anything I say and apply it to today if you're gonna steal shit because I have no fucking idea what they're doing. But yeah, it's you try to be cool to some of these guys and they're just like, people are pissed. They don't want to get busted, and it's like to you it's just a job, right? I don't know that dude, right? But it's my ass or his ass. If I don't bust people and then it looks like I'm lazy, and that's how you get demoted, eventually get fired, or transferred to some place where you don't want to work. Like I did overnight stocking, and that's when you quit or get fired. But yeah, so I didn't know what to do. I was like, so basically what I did though, just to avoid that situation is went to a store, told I lied, I went to like a Sears, and they were close enough behind me that they could see me. And I just, walked by one of the managers, said, "Hey, I'm LP for the store, for the mall. Outside, I'm going to cut through the back here real quick and go out the back." She's like, "Okay, if you say so. Like, you can follow me if you want." And she's like, "No, it's okay." And so I just out, and it's like, I had people like come back to the store with like buddies and shit, and that was kind of weird. I wasn't too worried about it when I was in the store, but I was worried about it like when I got off, like, I had a car, and then I just stopped driving it to work, so I was afraid they'd see my car, and now they can spot you in your car somewhere else. You'll be getting a fucking Burger King drive-thru or something like that, and the whole boy would be working there, right? And like fucking come out with a fucking baseball bat or fucking spit on your shit. Anyway, it was stressful that way. I never knew. I got to the point where I was paranoid all the time, totally paranoid, and that was a major thing for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like not knowing, what's going to happen. It's a big city, and I don't, you're not paying attention, you'll be distracted, and I don't feel like I have to look over my back all the fucking time when I'm not at work. I did that at work a little bit, but not, I don't want to do that on my day off. A couple guys, of course, would show up at the store once, and wait outside, talk shit. You always call the police or whatever, and there's usually two of us, at least two. But I worked the graveyard shift. Sometimes there was only one. We tried to have two, but somebody calling sick, something happened. Sometimes it's just you alone, and I tried to like different ways. There's different ways to approach it. Sometimes it was more advantageous for me to just discourage them from stealing it. If I knew somebody stole something, I didn't want to fuck with them. Just because I was by myself and they're big, and or they had a friend with them, or they looked like somebody that's going to throw down. I would try to like let them know without going up and saying anything to them, but like I'd follow them closer. I'd start like making noises as they were looking suspicious. I would start like looking up at the cameras and shit like that, when they looked over at me and shit, just to make them more paranoid. And that usually would work. Usually that would work, and they would put it back. They'd drop it. And that's it, and I'd follow them up to the door, not, on their heels, but, far close enough that they would know that I'm definitely LP. And that was a safety thing for me. I just, there's really not a lot of perks to that job. Unless you enjoy doing it. I didn't. I was paranoid. I was paranoid that something was going to happen to me, and not so much at work, but, when I wasn't expecting it. People would show up. Usually the people that showed up at work didn't really fuck with me. They did in a sense, but, it got to the point where, it wasn't worth it. For what I was getting paid, the extra $2.50 an hour, I think was what it was above like somebody in the garden section or whatever it was, And again, I don't know what they're paying now. No idea. But back then it wasn't much. It was nominal. It wasn't worth it. Busing, got a couple, like some people you never ever think, like got some old lady stealing once, and she was stealing stupid shit like Sharpies and shit like that. And I'm just like, got her, and she started crying, and went through and, put their purse and got all the shit out, she checked her IDs, writing her IDs on. She's a fucking school teacher, college professor, at a community college, and just like, oh, it's just like, I also, I kind of felt bad. Because I'm pretty sure everybody's stolen some shit, right? When I was younger, not even that much younger, but, I stole shit. I wasn't a career criminal, about it, but I definitely wasn't the innocent one, and I felt kind of bad busting some of these people, and it's just like, but you have to, because if you don't, one, then they're going to feel safe and keep doing it, right? Two, it encourages other people to steal. If they, we like, cops would, parade them through the long way of Walmart, with handcuffs on and shit. That was all part of, to emphasize that, you don't steal from Walmart, but, the real smart thieves are the ones that got away with fraud. Like, not check fraud and stuff like that, but I was able to bust some people. I think one of the cleverest things I busted people on is people with food stamps, right? People with food stamps, so they can buy stuff with food. So the people, they would be picking through the trash cans, going to the parking lots, and they would be picking up receipts, looking at receipts. Now, that was one thing we watched out for, because of, people will drop the receipts, throw them away. If it's a receipt for, say, a pair of Levi jeans, and they pay cash, right? Well, if you have that cash receipt, you can go in there and steal those exact pair of pants and come back and return them later, right? That was kind of common. We watched for that. Yeah, it's kind of common sense. But one tricky thing that I was able to catch people doing that kind of flew above most LPs' heads, probably because I did it when I was young, is that if I had food stamps, you could go and find a receipt on the ground or in the trash can, and if they paid, most people aren't going to usually don't keep receipts for food, so long as it's not perishable. Like if they had bought, like, say, canned goods, shit like that shit that you could return, right? I mean, you can't, obviously return frozen dinners and shit like that, but there's a lot of shit that you could return, right? Walmart would take back anything, and yeah, they it'd be like a receipt, and they'd have, like, ketchup and this and that of food products that you could buy on your food stamps. Well, they would go in and they wouldn't steal that shit. They'd purchase whatever they had on that cash receipt. They would purchase with their food stamps, right? So they get those exact things, match the UPCs, match it to make sure it's the exact item. But they'd buy that shit, so you couldn't bust them. I knew what they were doing, but yeah, they would buy this exact same shit off that cash receipt with their food stamps, and they'd come back, either to that Walmart or a different Walmart, and then they have a cash receipt for all the shit that they bought up with their food stamps, and then they would go and return it, and then they get cash back because they had the cash receipt. Now they're getting 100% of their cash on their food stamps, where most people who fuck with food stamps usually just sell them for 50%, get drugs or whatever. Who knows? Whatever they buy, right? Gay sex midgets. Who knows what they buy, right? But that was one thing that I watched out for. You can catch a lot of people doing that, but you can't do anything about it because they didn't steal anything. You can kick them out of the store, tell them never come back. You can scare them. That's all I did, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But yeah, there's a few things that I did. But yeah, I mean, eventually it just got too much for me. I don't think I lasted more than 6 months. It was right around there. But I mean, if somebody likes a job, hey, a job is a job, and I don't diss on any job, and that's exactly why I took the job, because the job is a job, not because I'm a tough guy, not because anything like that. But I'll tell you what, it did teach me a lot about how things work. And the one thing I did like to bust, though, is I like to bust employees. And that, when I got demoted, right? If I got demoted because I let somebody go that I shouldn't have, a 14-year-old girl that pulled at my heartstrings, and she got caught stealing. I caught her stealing pregnancy tests, and she was like 14, right? And she came and cried and said her dad finds out that she's pregnant, blah blah blah, he's gonna beat her and this and that, and probably kick her out. She'll have to run away from home. All this shit, right? I was like, whoa, like, right? Because it's a pregnancy test. It costs like $5, right? I'm like, and my manager wasn't there, the store manager. I mean, of course there was a manager there, but I just let her go. And I thought the manager knew I busted her, so the manager was like, Walmart doesn't let anybody go. At least at that time, it was just like, fuck happened to her? I'm like, and I explained to her, as a female, she had kids. I'm like, I had to make a judgment call on this, and she's like, anyway, I got demoted, to overnight stalker. And so all the employees, right, were paranoid of me, right? Now, you don't have to be paranoid of me if you're not stealing shit, right? And as an employee, then you don't have to be paranoid at all. But, I'd bust some employees, and they were friends to other employees. So it became basically nobody liked me, right? When I was on the floor as stalking, fucking, I don't remember, I think I was in the pet store. They put me in pets too, which sucks. Throwing around 50-pound bags of dog food all night. Anyway, I was not well, liked, you go out and have a cigarette break and try to walk up to everybody, now that you're in the Walmart blue shirt, now you're not LP, and you're just like, what's up, guys? And just like, but yeah, learning experience. But yeah, about 15-minute video. That's it. I'm rambling. I'm tired. I should go to bed. Been up too long.